Hey everyone, this is Jamie back with another video, and today I want to talk and teach you about how you can set up the Claude Code CLI in your VS Code tool. So this is more of like a beginner guide setup, and it's specifically targeted for non-techie entrepreneurs. But by the end of this, you'll be able to have your terminal up and running and using Claude's CLI tool right away. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is the CLI versus the VS Code extension. And what I mean by that is this is the CLI right here. This is a terminal. And it can look a little bit daunting at first because it's not the same thing as using a chat like this, where you can just type, hey, what is the weather today in Rome? And it will just do its thing. The same way it would do it on the Claude website or the desktop app, right? Well, actually, it couldn't even give me the answer. So that's the normal chat option, whereas the CLI looks like this. And to give a better definition, the VS Code extension lives inside your editor. The CLI runs anywhere, your terminal, any project folder, without opening an editor at all. If you want Claude Code to also handle things outside of coding, files, scripts, quick automations, the CLI is the more flexible entry point. So it's definitely for people with a more technical brain, but I think beginners can also learn this because once you know the foundations, you can apply that to anything. And that's the best thing about this. So what you're going to need is obviously a Mac, a Windows computer, or a Linux computer. Like, you need a computer. You'll need Node.js installed, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. You'll need an Anthropic or Claude Code account to log in with. If you watched my previous video on how to set up VS Code and actually add Claude Code, you'll already be logged in by this point, so that's good. And then this takes about 5 minutes. So the first thing is you want to use the Node.js, and you will have to download that from their website. I have it right here. It is nodejs.org. So to download it, you actually have to click on the Get Node.js button. And then on this page, if you scroll down, you can see that there's a pre-built version, right? This version here wants you to copy paste this code. And this is based on the settings here. Like if I change this to Mac, and if I change it from Docker to NVM, and I went to Yarn, it gives a lot of different settings. And this stuff is probably very confusing because there are different languages or different operating systems, being Mac or Windows, Linux. It's easier if you just get either the Windows installer or the Mac, etc. And for the right version of your computer. And that way you can just install that. Note, in this video, I'm not going to show you how to install that. It should be pretty straightforward. So if you get stuck, you can always just go to Google or use AI to guide you on that. It's a good way to experiment. So once you've actually downloaded and installed Node.js, you can actually bring this command into your terminal, and I'll show how that works in a minute, to run this to check your version, to make sure it's actually active. So in here, back in my VS Code, I'm going to go to the top menu called Terminal. I'm going to click on New Terminal, and you'll notice this doesn't look the exact same as Claude because the Claude CLI terminal that I already have running is built on top of this. It's their own custom version. And so a normal terminal looks like this, where it's very simple and it's just for writing commands. Now you'll notice that when I run this, it doesn't work. So if I just type node, you can see yellow means that it's a command. It'll then give me version 24.15. And if we go back to my browser, you'll notice that there is a newer version here, 26.5, where mine was 24.15. So I might have to update my node. So that's something I should consider doing down the road. Now installing Claude Code is again another command. So I'm going to actually copy everything without the $, and I'm going to bring this back into my terminal. Let's see what happens if I run this with it already being installed. This could break it for me, but for you, this will install it. So if I run npm install anthropic AI-Claude Code, it'll then say resources busy or locked, copy file, complete log. So it probably ran into an error for me just because I already have it installed in here. So you're going to run that command. It's going to install this over time, and then your Claude Code CLI will be ready to go. Now, one more thing I wanted to point out before I move on with the next step. If you go to the bottom left of VS Code and click on the gear icon here for manage, and then click on settings, you want to type in Claude, and it's going to narrow down all the settings in here for Claude Code's extension. One important thing that you want to turn on is a little further down, and it's called Claude Code Use Terminal. So essentially, when you toggle this under the User tab at the top here, because there's User and Workspace, this is going to allow you to launch Claude in the terminal instead of the native UI, which I already showed you earlier. So make sure this is toggled so that you can actually use the terminal once you finish setting it up. So now the next thing you want to do is you want to actually copy this for Claude, and you're going to want to paste this into your VS Code, and it will look like this. So here is my chat again, where I asked about the weather. I'm going to click on this Claude icon, which will open it in a terminal. And then I'm going to copy paste Claude. And when I hit enter, it's going to run the command because I've installed this. For me, it won't show the steps to get this set up in terms of like the default settings. It'll ask you some basic questions, but once you have that running, this is what it will show you. Now, for me, it mentions MCP servers that need to be authenticated. This is just my own thing that I have running. It's talking about Fable 5, and then you can see at the bottom, it's showing me my model. It's showing me the folder I'm in that I'm accessing, and then it's showing me my context window. So this is a custom, like this right here that I'm selecting is custom. I will show how to install this in another video. Now, after this, we can ask Claude a basic thing, like what files are inside of the folder we're in now. And it's going to sort of act the same way it does in the chat, where it's using the language, it's searching, it's telling you how many tokens it's using. And obviously this folder I'm in has absolutely nothing in it. I'm just using it so I can access the tool. So there's nothing there. And that's basically the whole setup. We've installed Node.js. We installed Claude Code with one command. We logged in through the browser and ran your first command. Now, you'll notice in this video, I didn't actually show you the logging in through the browser portion. Essentially, when you're going through the setup for running the Claude command up here, it will ask you to log into your account on the Claude website. But the best thing to do is to already be logged in. And if you're watching this video after my how to install VS Code and adding the Claude Code extension, you will already be logged in to your Claude account. So that's why I didn't show that step specifically on my screen. So now as a bonus, let's take a look at some commands that exist here. There's a lot here. And the big thing to understand is that you can't actually scroll down this list with your mouse. You have to use the arrow keys. So the big thing to do is that I'm going to show you is you can actually type model, and you can see here that it kind of narrowed down what's here. You can see that if I hit enter, it'll then open up a different menu. And you can see that we're set to Sonnet 5. Underneath is Fable 5, the new model. That's actually being taken away today on the 12th of July when I'm recording this. And then there's Opus 4.8 and Haiku. So the big thing to know is that you can change your models doing /model, and you can change this. You can also see that underneath that, it says medium effort right here. Effort is basically the model's ability to add more effort into its thinking, right? I use medium because that's kind of like a middle ground for me. I could use high, but depending on the model you use and the effort, it could drain more tokens, meaning your usage. So if I was to use, it shows the arrows here to adjust the effort. So if I move to the right, it goes high effort. If I go down, it's back to medium. I can go to low. And if I keep going, there's max effort, there's X high effort, there's medium effort. So you can stay there. And so I'm just going to hit enter. I'm still on Sonnet 5. And that's basically it for the video. So if you found this helpful, please let me know below in the comment section and let me know what kind of videos you are looking for on a beginner level. And over time, I'll be putting these together for you and making Claude and Claude Code a lot easier to use on your day-to-day basis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a future video.